That's how I came about it. And for me, what happened is my husband came to me expressing his desire to have sex with somebody else. Now, mind you, he had never seen another woman naked the whole time we were married or ever.
Welcome to another episode coming at you from ChooseYourRelationships.com, author of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. So today I have another special guest. However, before I get into that, if you have any questions, any concerns, send all your emails. The easiest way to get in contact with me is at ChooseYourRelationships.com. And when you get there, click on the contact tab. And in the subject line, put Love Can't Wait podcast. Send me any of your questions, anything you want me to talk about, anything you want me to help you with over there. So with that being said, my special guest today is Gayle, Lynn, founder of Relationships Evolving, and she specializes in helping couples with non-traditional relationships. Non-traditional relationships such as poly, open relationships, and swinging. Her desire is that her clients will be able to evolve their relationships into what they desire and achieve inner peace. For some, this may be creating more intimacy in marriage, opening the marriage, or for some, it may be divorce. Regardless of your decision, she'll guide you through with no judgment or agenda. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so thanks for taking time to do this again. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So where are you from?
I am actually located in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Phoenix.
It's a good place. Nice and warm.
Yeah. I love warm weather.
Me too.
Yeah. So how did you get started? Because this is not like the common path of people taking their careers and being successful. We don't go to school or go to college for helping people with relationships. So what's your story? How did you get started?
Good question. You're right. We don't go to school for this kind of thing. It's more like life school.
Yeah.
That's how I came about it. And for me, what happened is my husband came to me expressing his desire to have sex with somebody else. Now, mind you, he had never seen another woman naked the whole time we were married or ever. So, I mean, maybe porn, but not in real life. Like, Come on, you know what I mean? So, and we'd been together for over 30 years. And so, there was kind of a lot going on in our lives, and it was just one of those things that was coming up for him. And so, of course, for me, I kind of lost it at first because I was like, what? This is going against everything that we believe, what we've been taught, what's going to happen. Am I going to lose my house, my family? I have no idea where this is going, but my mind is going 50 miles an hour trying to figure out, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so we were going through a lot of like personal stuff at the time. And so the first thing, and the intimacy in the bedroom was definitely not a whole lot. So, that's what happens when you're kind of dealing with the son that's having some issues and a bankruptcy, just a few things, just a few light things on my plate at the time.
Yeah.
And so how I dealt with the stress was by going to bed and, popping some Ambien, getting stupid and sleeping. For him, it was more like, I want to have a release,
Yeah.
So So the first thing we did was we started amping up the intimacy between the two of us. And so we did that by, of course, playing around, getting out the berries and the whipped cream and, experimenting with some orgasmic meditation and...
Yeah, baby!
Which totally started to turn me back into the sexual being that I am. I just had hid it away for so long because I was so concerned about raising kids and family and businesses and all that fun stuff. So, but his desire never really went away. So even though we really reconnected that way, it was just a curiosity he had. So then I was like, all right, okay, how can I handle this? There's, two different ways that I see. Fuck you, get out. Excuse me, you don't mind if I...
Oh, it's fine.
Drop one every once in a while. Or let's figure this out and see what we can do. And so I took the path of let's see what this looks like and figure out what we can do. And so what we did on the recommendation of some friends is we actually attended the Kodoshka, which was like a 4-day workshop on sacred sexuality. Well, lo and behold, I didn't know a lot of stuff about sex because my parents never taught it to me. And here I'm learning it in this workshop and I'm like in my 40s. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So one of the things that they did address in there were the different relationship styles. And also within that workshop, you have the opportunity to actually, there's different exercises that you do. They're not sexual, but they're intimate exercises with your clothes off. And when you do them, you can choose to have a different partner. And so that's what we did. So it was almost like a little playground for us to kind of experiment and experience being with somebody else in a very safe container. And so once we were done with that, and mind this, we are in a big room and we can see each other across the way. Okay, so this can be intense, right? Yeah. And for me, I really didn't have a problem with it. It was so interesting to see what came up in me and how I started showing up in those situations. I was actually had this I was happy for him, which I later found out is called compersion. Is when you just have this vicarious joy that your partner's happy. And then I finally, it's like dawned on me, why is it sometimes we don't want our partners to be happy? If that's going to be something that makes them happy and we can do it in a safe way and not just blow everything up, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I want him to let me be my happiest self in whatever I'm doing. And so that's where a real relationship is when you can really love like that and in that kind of way and figure out why you're jealous. Because that's usually most, the jealousy and the family beliefs, the cultural beliefs, the religious beliefs, those are the things that usually you have to overcome to be able to really get into that kind of a space with somebody. But once you do, it can be a darn beautiful space. So when we were done with that weekend, we actually chose to open our marriage, and it wasn't all roses. Okay, it took a lot of communication, a lot of figuring out how to do it. And so for me, that when I say I went to school, I lived it, I experienced it. Walking through what it's like, the jealousy, how much time do we spend? What kind of agreements do we have? What pillars do we, agree on so that we're, safe sex, or how many times, or what kind, all of that stuff starts to come into play. Things you just don't think about when you're in a monogamous relationship. Wow. And, some of the communication, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because it took us so much time. Like, we communicated for hours some days, and it was like a part-time job. And I'm just like, okay, this, so we started going out and we started doing the self-development work to learn how to communicate better with each other and reflect and and really listen to each other and hear each other. And once we started to do that, you know, the keys started to click, and then we could move together and forward a little bit more and a little bit more. And yeah, until heck, now I've been open, I've been poly, I've been a swinger. And so I know how to navigate the spaces.
Man, you said a whole lot.
Were you expecting that?
Yeah, kind of. But there's a lot of couples out here that's like this. You know, I think once you've been together for a long time, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you know, people change as they get older. And I know guys. I know how guys are, right?
Yes.
You know, I kind of know women just a little bit, but I know guys better because I'm a guy. That makes sense.
Fair enough.
Over time, you know, I'm gonna say most guys are going to have a desire to be with another woman.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. Now,
sure.
Is he willing to take that step? Maybe, maybe not. No, but some guys will say, "Hey, it's nice. She's nice to look at, you know, or talk to, or whatever," and that's it. That might be the extent of it. But then you have some guys be like, "Hey, you know, I just want to pass every once in a while." You know, I don't
want to pass.
Yeah, I don't want to break up the family. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to hurt my wife's feelings, but I don't know how she's going to take it. So they'll cheat.
Yes.
You know, but the problem with that is, I said, man, you're too old for that. You're 40s, 50s, 60 years old. And plus, there's so much stuff out here. You can, you know, you might catch something and bring it back home. And then you got to keep up with the lie. And it's just too much. So, you know, I had a similar situation as far as I was that guy that I just described, right? So I couldn't keep up with all the lies. And plus, I got tired of, like, you know, thinking like, okay, did I tell on myself today? Because something might have happened 6 months ago, 2 years ago, and I just got tired of it. So I just was honest, and I sat her down and I just told her how I felt. And a lot of times I tell a lot of guys, I know every guy's not gonna be able to pull it off, but I tell some guys, if you communicate how you feel, and I mean, it takes courage. You know, a lot of times you can really work it out with your wife or your living girlfriend or whatever kind of relationship you have, you know. But we've been conditioned to think that, hey, if I tell her what's on my mind and that everything is over, no, it's not really. You don't know.
You don't know. And that's just it. People are so afraid to get authentic and vulnerable in what they need that they're willing to hide it, because one codependency comes into play, right? You don't want to hurt somebody. And so you're going to cover it up because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you don't want to feel wrong, or, you know, all of these emotions start coming at you along with the belief systems of, this is bad, you shouldn't be doing this. And so if we can actually get to that space of authenticity and vulnerability and just crack the door open, I think we'd be really surprised at how many people would be more receptive to working something out, because it can look so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, like, it could be just once a year or once a quarter, you know, maybe it's once a week. It just depends on what works for you guys. But it can just be that little bit that actually brings a lot of spice back to your relationship. Yeah. And that's what it did for us. Like, having these other experiences really brought it back to where we actually enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
You know, even our own intimacy. And that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I always tell people, man, do what you got to do to keep your relationship together, to keep the family together. Because, it's not really, a lot of it takes, I don't know, maybe it takes courage or, but why do you feel that you can't speak your mind to the person that you live with, you sleep with every night, hopefully? I don't understand. It's like everything doesn't have to be like I don't know. People feel like they have to put on a facade, or it's how some of these people relationship functions. To me, is kind of crazy sometimes.
Well, you got to look at, there's like a really deeper root that is there. Okay, a deeper fear is what, and even shame. So if you think about it, like, what are the things that are going to come up? Abandonment, safety and security, self-worth. I mean, those are deep roots in all of us. Yeah. And it's something that all of us experience in this lifetime to work through those different areas. But relationships, that's what they're there for. They're going to show that mirror to you, and they're going to bring up all of those things. Yeah. And so if you can actually embrace that some of that stuff is going to come up, and when you get triggered, I always say never waste a trigger. It's there to show you something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are not aware that that's just coming up to show you something else, to shift something in your life, to move you in a different direction. It's a beautiful thing, actually.
Yeah. And I always say, whatever y'all decide to do in your relationships, please don't tell your friends and family.
Oh, come on.
Because they're going to be very judgmental. They'll be like, oh, you guys are in an open marriage? Oh,
yeah. I went through a lot of that. And, a lot of people, especially swingers, I find that they don't want their families to know. No. For us, we actually did tell our kids. And here's the reason why, is because here we are, we were in the church, and monogamy, one woman, one man, don't have sex before you get married. All those things are coming across the board. And then here we are out dating other people. And, we would get ready for dates and leave and both take separate cars. So, I mean, my kids are teenagers and in college at this point. So, obvious.
Yeah, kids usually find out anyway.
And they do, and stuff. But I actually found that there's a freedom, because it showed them that they get to make other choices too.
Yeah.
And you know what? If people are going to judge me, that's on them.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's because something's coming up within them that they need to now reconcile.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you know you could show other people how to make decisions best for them in their relationships?
Everybody really has the answer within them. It's just a matter of being able to guide them through that decision and then giving them the tools to do it. So for me, like in my coaching, one of the things we work on is communication skills. That's a big one. We start working through peeling back like any jealousy layers that come up, because jealousy is like a big onion. Okay, you just got to keep peeling back the layers until you can get to the center where like the freedom is at, where it's not going, you still might have jealous feelings, but they don't trigger you like they used to. You recognize them and you see what's going on. And then we also work on like your attachment styles and understanding that. We might work on your love languages and understanding, because sometimes that's just right there is not understanding your spouse's love language, or their erotic blueprint of what they like in the bedroom. Do they like it soft and sensual with the candles and all that, but you like to like bang one out, Well, when you can start understanding the other person's languages, then you know how to help them and how to communicate with them better. And then they start to get a better understanding about them and their needs. So when they do get into other relationships, then it's going to go a lot more smooth.
Yeah. So how do you find couples?
Like any business, you know, I mean, people hear me on podcasts, they see me on podcasts. You know, I'm very involved in like my local swingers club. I actually help out down there because I know that that's like the peeps that need me. And so I definitely have clients from just, you know, being able or socializing with them or helping with them and doing events down there. And referrals. So, yeah, typical business stuff.
Okay. So, do you think there is ever a bad, I guess, a bad idea to open up your marriage or relationship? Because the reason why I say that, because some people that's they might have been together for 5 years, sometimes less than that, but they'll say, hey, you know what, we kind of lost the fire in our relationship, so you know we want to try something different, we want to open things up or whatever. Sometimes they might have lost the connection between each other, and they'll try to open things up without connecting again. So that's why I asked that.
Yes. So the not ideal situation, and you know, I always consider anything that happens, there's a reason it happens that way. But it's not ideal to choose to open your relationship when the marriage is already
rocky,
possibly on its last leg. It's like having a baby to keep your marriage going, right? It's probably not going to work. And is that okay? It's okay, because it still showed you really where your heart was at and where you wanted to go with everything. But my suggestion is always make sure that both people are on board, because sometimes somebody will do it just for the other because they're doing it out of safety and security. They're doing it because they don't want to be abandoned. And then they start kind of losing themselves. So that's one of the things in the coaching I really watch for is, you know, is everybody really on board here? If not, let's start dealing with some of the things with somebody who might be a little bit hesitant to really get down to, is this something you want to do genuinely? And so when we can start really looking at it that way, then they can make a decision. Is it time to do this or not? And just like opening your marriage, take your time. It's not a race. It's not oh, we've had one conversation, now I get to go out and make a date right now. Let's get my profile up on OkCupid. You know,
yeah.
Like take your time and do it slow. It's just like, you know, whenever I see new swingers down at the club, I'm like, oh, have you guys been doing this? No, we're just checking into it. And, you know, they'll just come in because it's a social club first. It's a very unique club. It's not like most of the other ones in the States, where they can come in and just socialize with other people who are in the lifestyle. And then they get to hear different stories, see how different people act, and be able to get comfortable with somebody that then maybe they might want to engage with. So, but they start taking it slow, you know, a meeting here, a meeting there, you know, it seems to like just kind of smooth things through and not become overwhelming. Because that's the other thing you have to start looking at is, how do I process my emotions? And because emotions are going to come up, feelings are going to come up. And the big thing is not repressing them, to feel them, figure out what they're trying to tell you, so that then you can move forward in the right way.
Yeah. You know, I think, you know, I met, well, I still know some couples, you know, they actually opened things up, and they had a good solid marriage and no problems, right? But they just wanted to spice things up. That's what they said anyway. Mm-hmm. And I think they went to a swingers club or a house party somewhere around here where I live, and they met a couple. They they I guess got to know them for I don't know, maybe as long as the party was, and they I think they swapped, right?
Yeah.
And turns out they didn't like it.
See? Sometimes you don't know until you try it.
Yeah, they didn't like it. They said it wasn't the couple. It was just something about the dynamic, and both of them seeing it's the image of them seeing the wife or the husband with somebody else. They couldn't I guess they couldn't take it.
Yeah. And that's part of the jealousy that comes up, but then also, hey, you found out, is it for you, is it not for you?
Yeah. And then I had another guy that he said he actually convinced his wife to go to a party, right? And his wife never thought about being with another guy at all, but he was persistent over I don't know, like maybe 6 months. And she said, you know what, I'll go just to see how it is or whatever, right? And and they didn't have any intentions of doing anything, just go there, see how it is, observe or whatever, talk to people or whatever, right? And make a long story short, she ended up being with another guy that night. And he said it kind of after that night, he never looked at his wife the same ever again.
Well, I gotta tell you, so when we opened all this, right, guess who was the first one to see somebody? It was me, not him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I brought this up. How? What?
Yeah. So a lot of times, I think for some people, once you open the door, they can't go back. Some people are like that.
Yeah, I think, because it's a different way of being, for sure. Yeah. I think there are people who could possibly go back. It could just be like a little bit of a phase.
Yeah.
And then, they do it and it's like, okay, we, experienced that. Now let's go on. Or they calm it down. Like I know a lot of swingers who they might do it once or twice a year.
Yeah.
So it's not this ongoing thing. And then there are people, down at the club that are there every single week. Will they get tired? Will they have a baby? Will, something else will come up in life and, so they ebb and flow with life.
Yeah. Yeah. So if people wanted to work with you, where would they go?
So you can find me on my website, relationshipsevolving.com. I do have like a discovery call that you can do there if you want to book that. It's free, no charge at all for that. It's like a 20-minute session to see if we're each other's jam and see what I could do to help you, because I work with all kinds of relationships or anything that's going on in this kind of area. And also I am on Facebook under Relationships Evolving with Gayle Lynn, or Instagram is relationships_evolving. And you could email me also at Gayle, Gayle, at relationshipsevolving.com.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. Tell me what you think below. Until next time, we're out. If you like this video, share this video. And if you want to support my channel, click the thanks tab and leave me a donation. 2, 5, 10, 50. Just click whatever tab you want to donate and leave me a note and let me know how the video helped you. And you click the buy and send tab. Appreciate it.